Batwoman TV show is a mess. It's full of corny dialogue, wooden acting, forced relationships, and worst of all, CW drama! On its best days, it's just that, a run-of-the-mill DCW show. But on its worst days, it makes the other Arrowverse shows look like, a Marvel Netflix show? Avengers Endgame? I don't know, something good? The show is bad, is what I'm saying, but to be fair, it does have its redeeming qualities. For one, pretty much anything involving the main villain, Alice, is fantastic. Rachel Skarsten seems like the only actor in this entire show that's actually trying, and this isn't relevant to the video at all. I just wanted to praise this performance because it's genuinely a lot of fun to watch. Like, it's good time. Alice is great. And I do say this all full well knowing that most of the other actors can actually act, but for whatever reason, 90% of the time, they just stand there spouting dialogue like little robot boys. Like, ooh, I'm gonna stand here and spout my words. Like, move around a little bit. Have some fun with it. Another thing I initially praised the show for was its cinematography. The other Arrowverse shows are filled with high-key lighting that's complemented by deeply saturated color grading. They look closer to daytime TV than, say, Man of Steel. Batwoman, in contrast, hosts almost exclusively low-key lighting with more muted colors. And the reason I said I initially praised the show for its cinematography is because I now sort of see it as a negative. From a purely cohesion perspective, Batwoman sticks out like a sore thumb at face value when compared to the other Arrowverse shows. Thus far, the Arrowverse has felt pretty damn cohesive in terms of tone, design, and cinematography, with the exception of the animated shows and maybe Black Lightning, but even that one only barely counts. It's only now, like, part of main canon. Anyway, I'm getting off track. They all feel like they live in the same universe. Which they do. Sharing a visual style works on multiple levels. Making a group of things feel related to one another is a huge one. This is why the MCU movies never stray too far from each other in terms of design and cinematography, or why most movies in the Snyderverse are all dark and grim. And honestly, I'd be okay with this darker change in look if the writing followed suit, but it just doesn't. Batwoman is written in the same melodramatic, campy way that the rest of the Arrowverse shows are, but it appears like it's of a darker, more serious ilk. This dissonance between cinematography and writing is, unfortunately, the most apparent in the character of Batwoman herself. What do you think of when imagining the character of Batwoman? Even if you know nothing about her aside from the name, what comes to mind? You're probably picturing something along the lines of a night-stalking vigilante that flies through Gotham, expertly dispatching supervillains with ease. What do the writers of Batwoman, the Arrowverse show airing on the CW network, think of when imagining the character of Batwoman? They're picturing an ill-equipped wooden goofy klutz who faffs about Gotham, failing every encounter she comes upon. Herein lies the issue. Batwoman in Batwoman fucking sucks.
Oh no!
Kane is a veritable doofus in this show. The combat loop of Batwoman is as follows. Batwoman is alerted to a situation, she rides off to go handle said situation, she makes a joke about how she's not familiar with the equipment she has, and then she fails the encounter completely. And sure, sometimes she does straight up succeed, but every success is always immediately undercut by a happenstance that makes Batwoman look like a dumbass. Sip. Episode 10 opens with Batwoman saving a bunch of people from being squished to death in a runaway subway car. She tethers her Batbike between the car and the tracks, using some bat cable. I guess that's super bat strong and super won't bat break, and this works because it needed to. And Batwoman has saved the day, but then the hook attached to the tracks slips and begins hurtling toward Batwoman. It's about to hit her when she's tackled to the ground and saved by a nearby cop. A bunch of people then show up and take pictures of Batwoman and the hot cop on the ground, embarrassing her and ruining the heroic moment she deserved. You definitely couldn't have just let Batwoman save a train full of people, huh? She just gotta lie on the ground and look like an idiot. Look at you, oh, Batwoman! Oh, look on the ground, stupid! In episode 6, Batwoman is looking for information on the Monster of the Week and confronts a security guard. The guard starts to heavily flirt with her, so she pisses off. Cool. I don't really have an issue with this. Who cares? The flirting was annoying, but it moved on, and the point was that the guy was in the wrong. Anyway, she then starts to hear the sound of a truck getting closer, and instead of making the incredibly obvious assumption that it's coming straight towards her and jumping out of the way, she decides to stand still and gets bodied by said truck. Oh, and for some icing on the cake, the truck was being driven by the aforementioned Monster of the Week. Very cool! About halfway through episode 4, Batwoman is hot on the trail of Magpie, who has stolen Martha Wayne's pearl necklace. Kate and Luke find her lair, but it's wired to blow with a climate-sensitive switch. Basically, if anything in the room doesn't match the temperature that Magpie has set, everything will blow. Luke lowers the temperature of Kate's suit to match the room and informs her that she also cannot breathe. So, she has 2 minutes. This is a super cool setup, in my opinion. It allows for some cool detective cinematography and for some fun banter coming from Luke's side as, Batwoman can't talk. She can't talk back in this instance, so Luke kind of takes it as an opportunity to monologue at her. Anyway, Batwoman's search goes pretty well. She recovers the necklace, copies Magpie's hard drive, and manages to do it all in little over a minute. Plenty of time left. Except she sneezes, blowing the room up because of some feathers in Magpie's drawer. Batwoman sneezed and almost killed herself. Love that. There are moments like these in basically every episode of the show. The second the titular protagonist gets the upper hand, she has to be dethroned by some nonsensical mishap that leaves you entirely unsatisfied. And I want to be clear, I'm definitely not trying to say that the hero should never lose. That would get boring, there would be no stakes. What I am saying is that a loss should feel fair and justified, instead of trivial and borderline annoying. There's a moment in episode 11 where Mouse lights a car on fire that's holding 3 hostages. Kate is present, but she can't stop him from tossing the lighter on the diesel-soaked car because she's busy fighting some goons. That's fair. Not only was she preoccupied, but she also wasn't in costume, so she was without any gadgets that could have stopped Mouse from far away. On top of that, she actually does end up saving the hostages before the moment has a chance to be undercut by a dumb joke. Unfortunately, as I think I've already clearly outlined, this is the exception to what seems to be the rule. Just make fun of Batwoman. That's the rule. This trend of undercutting Batwoman's abilities is felt throughout the entire show. Either she doesn't understand the bat tech, gets put into a silly situation, or is simply not good enough to beat her enemy in combat. This shit is so frustrating in a world where the other Arrowverse protagonists are supremely capable. Imagine a scene in Arrow where Oliver is fighting some thugs and, upon knocking them all out, slips on a banana peel while a fart sound effect is being played. That's how this show makes you feel about Batwoman! Am I crazy? Like, what the fuck? She's been regulated to the bumbling sidekick that the main hero has to teach to be better in her own show! Shit's just funny to me at this point. Like, it's her own goddamn show. Why is she so stupid? And hey, there's nothing inherently wrong with the scene I just pitched there. Honestly, it's a pretty funny scene. I love to see that. I've got nothing against comedy in my superheroes, and I definitely don't mind if Batwoman herself tells jokes or ribs while fighting. I prefer those qualities in Barbara Gordon Batgirl, but I understand that Batwoman needs to be set apart from Batman somehow since he'll eventually show up on the show. Besides, Arrow had the Batman archetype covered for the most part already, so there's really no need to just retrudge ground there, even though he's dead. Wait, is that why they killed Oliver? So that no one would notice that there are 2 Batmen when Bruce Wayne shows back up? Uh-oh. The issue here is that Batwoman isn't shot or written in a way that fosters this kind of comedic behavior from its titular hero. The dark and gritty cinematography directly contradicts the way the vigilante is portrayed. Muted colors and low-key lighting are classic ways to exude a darker, more serious tone, one that is directly counter to the way Batwoman acts in this show. To bring back my example of the Snyderverse from earlier, let's look at Justice League, which illustrates the same sort of issues. When the film was initially shot, and for most of the early edits, Snyder was at the helm. Everything was still dark and muted and seemed to share the DNA that Man of Steel started. Then Joss Whedon came in to do reshoots to make things a little more lighthearted. But he didn't just add jokey scenes, insert them randomly into the film, and call it a day. The color grading changed dramatically to match the new tone of the reshoots. Even more notably, Suicide Squad didn't do this, and is so much more of a tonal mess for it. In fact, I'm willing to bet that there were far less reshoots for that film than there were for Justice League. And, most importantly, despite the trailer park re-edit of Suicide Squad, it is still super dark and grimy. The point here is that you can't write with one tone in mind and shoot with another. Pick a lane and stick to it, like at a bowling alley. What are you gonna throw your ball into Jimmy's lane? Those are his pins. Leave Jimmy's pins alone. So, what exactly is happening here? Let's get to the bottom of it. Why does Batwoman suck? It's definitely not the source material, because from what I've read in the comics, she's a perfectly capable hero, and it's certainly not precedent from other shows being carried over into hers. In her first appearance during the Elseworlds crossover, Batwoman is basically unstoppable. She makes this dude shit his pants, easily takes down a fear toxined Flash and Green Arrow, and wins the respective Supergirl all in like 5 minutes of total screen time. Like I said, that was her first appearance. In what else world does the almost backdoor pilot for a spin-off show have its hero be way more capable than she ends up being in said spin-off show? The only thing that would explain this disconnect is if Batwoman takes place before Elseworlds and her other Arrowverse appearances. And in fact, this is the case for the first couple episodes before she gets the suit. But after that, it is very clear that the show takes place during present day, references to the crisis and all. So what, is Batwoman just having an off day every time we see her in her own show? You know, fuck it. I'll take any explanation at this point. Maybe the writer's intention is that this is an early stage in training Kate Kane, who isn't at peak performance yet. That could be cool. Batwoman, year 1. Sorry, what? Her backstory in the show directly contradicts this idea? Oh, that's cool. Oh yeah, that's great. Oh, I love that. Okay, so yeah, Batwoman explores Kate Kane's past life in flashback form, similar to that of its father show, Arrow. These flashbacks serve to provide context for two things in present day: Kate and Sophie's complicated relationship, along with Kate's military prowess. And here's the thing. These flashbacks paint Kate to be a fucking god. Best in her class, queen of the castle, she beat all the records while drunk. Wow! This makes a ton of sense. She should beat all the records while drunk. She should be a god. She should be queen of the castle. She's fucking Batwoman! But when you compare the things the flashbacks say about Kate to the reality of the combat situations we see her in, everything starts to fall apart, and I find myself screaming the golden rule of filmmaking at my television. Oh, and if you didn't know, that rule is when in doubt, insane.
We can't undo the past! Watch us!
We are told, time and time again by this show, that Kate Kane is an unmatched, highly skilled soldier, but we're only ever shown an inexperienced, clumsy fool. That's right, Batwoman's a fool. You made me call her a fool, Mark Guggenheim. He actually has nothing to do with this. That responsibility falls on all these people, who I guess just straight up hate Batwoman? And here's the weirdest fucking thing about this very specific behind-the-scenes part. Elseworlds Part 2, where Batwoman first appears in her Arrowverse incarnation, is written by Mark Guggenheim and Caroline Dries, the latter of whom runs the fucking Batwoman show. I truly do not understand why the creators behind Batwoman hate Batwoman so much. It seems like the writing team is split between wanting to make a show about a badass vigilante kicking supervillains' teeth in, and wanting to make a show about an inexperienced soldier trying to fight crime. Both are cool ideas, but neither of these is given enough attention, and because of this, the entire production suffers. The most upsetting thing is that this show would be so much better if they just let Batwoman be Batwoman. The Arrowverse shows are constantly criticized for their CW influence. The circular plots, the forced drama, the bad CG, etc. Batwoman doesn't really address any of these concerns, aside from it looking visually distinct, and you know what? That's fine. There are legions of people who love the CW formula, but a big part of that formula is the catharsis of seeing a hero succeed in their mission. The Batwoman TV show is a mess. It's full of corny dialogue, wooden acting, and forced relationships, but above all else, it refuses to let Batwoman be Batwoman, and that's a damn shame. Hey gang, thanks for watching me scream into a microphone about Batwoman for a bit. I hope the show can get better. Like, really, the only missing ingredient, the only reason I am annoyed at this show is because there isn't that catharsis of seeing Batwoman succeed and actually seeing her be good at what she does. Anyway, thanks for watching. You guys are great. Bye.